Good day, you beautiful people of YouTube. It's the Mad Marine here. Today, let's go ahead and talk about Makarov pistols. But before we get started, if you could please smash that subscribe button, that really helps the channel out the most, and it'd be a huge help to me. Now, let's go ahead and do a quick safety check. All right. Now, as you can see, there is nothing in the chamber, nothing in the magazine, and we are good to go. Now, the Makarov, we're going to go ahead and send this forward. The Makarov will not go on safe unless the hammer's to the rear. So we're just going to go ahead and send that forward since we know that we've cleared it. So, all right, we'll put the Makarov down. Now, it is August 2020, and for those of you who are unaware, it's kind of been a crazy year so far. Firearms are pretty pricey. Used Glocks I'm seeing right now for $550, and that's new and used plus. I saw some Leo trade-in SIGs that are 40 Smith & Wesson for $550, and keep in mind these are Leo trade-ins, so they're pretty worn, at least externally. I couldn't comment to the interior of the internals of it, but the outside of them, pretty worn, $500+. Smith & Wesson's brand new M&P in box 9mm, $550+, and even those god-awful high points, the C9, $250+ kind of crazy out there. Now, something I've been seeing in the firearms market so far is that prices have let me get my shirt out of the way here as I move my notes. Prices over the last 2 weeks have kind of stabilized, which is good, but unfortunately they're still way too high at the moment. So what are some good cheap alternatives or cheaper options for people out there? I would argue that the Makarov is a good cheap alternative. Now these do come in 380 or 9x18/9mm Makarov. 9x18 and 9mm Makarov are the same, just how it's called. We're going to be talking about the 9mm Makarov, and I have a 9mm Makarov round. So on the right hand side, this is 9mm Makarov. This is 9mm Luger, or 9x19, and then right here is a 40 Smith & Wesson, and that's a hollow point self-defense round that I have in there. So just to give you a quick comparison of what the rounds look like. So now let's go back to the Makarovs. Now my particular one is a CZ82, and it has a 12 round magazine capacity. Kind of nice, 12 rounds, not too shabby. This one also came with kind of its cool surplus kit, and it came with a cleaning rod in here, and inside here there's a lanyard loop. I'm just going to leave that in there because I don't feel like taking it out. And then this cool kind of tool belt pouch kit surplus thing. If you were to wear this out around and it was legal for you to do so, no one would really suspect there's a gun in here. It kind of just looks like really big handcuff pouch or some type of tool that might be in here. So it's somewhat discreet and interesting. So maybe that's an option for you, but just that's what mine came in. Now I got mine for around $350, and this was I believe before 2020 or very beginning of 2020, and so I got mine for about $350. I've been looking for I've been looking online, and you can get these pistols with 2 magazines. Now, unfortunately, you won't get the pouch, and you won't get the lanyard, and you won't get the cleaning rod, but you can get that for about $375, $400 without the cool surplus pouch and all the internals. Not too shabby as far as pricing goes. Now, I want to talk about the pros and cons of generally Makarovs, and one of the big pros is the ammunition costs. The ammunition right now is about 21 to 26 cents a shot. Now, before 2020, it was 17 cents a shot. So really cheap and inexpensive, all for the ammo cost. This gun works. It's super reliable. It has a good fit in your hand. This just feels like a very solid, good weapon to keep in your hand. It has a pretty good, pretty good grip. All in all, you can get, I don't have huge hands. I don't have small hands, probably average, and I can get all my fingers on it. So all in all, this gun has a really good solid feel to it, and good magazine capacity, which isn't too bad. And good grips. So the grips actually are pretty, have some texture to them, believe it or not, on these. Now the biggest cons for the Makarov are simply when you fire it, it tends to be a little snappy. So if you were to fire it and go bang, it tends to snap up a little bit. And that's just my general experience. So you go bang and it just tends to pull up a little bit. That may be a huge turnoff to people. It may not. It's not awful, but just making a note of it, being particular and trying to be inaccurate. The other thing that isn't the best on the Makarov, I would argue, is the sights. Now you can put some luminescent gel in here if you were trying to use these at night, which I would highly recommend if that was a scenario you're in. And also I'd make sure if you're going to use this at nighttime for self-defense that you have a light. That's just my general recommendation. No matter what self-defense weapon, if you're using at night, it needs to have a light. Sounds like that should rhyme somewhere in there. Have to make up a better ditty. Now the other thing is, so the light and sights are kind of the biggest downside to this weapon, and that being a little snappy. Now there are many countries that actually produced Makarov style pistols. They're produced in Germany, they're produced in Russia, they're produced in Poland, they're produced in Hungary, they're produced in China, Bulgaria, and the Czech Republic. Now, some of these Makarovs were single stack, and some of them were double stack. Now, mine again is double, and single stack were also produced. Now, if you're running a single stack magazine, there's a good possibility that your round count is only going to be 8 rounds. Now, if you're running a double stack magazine, it's going to be 12. Now, there are aftermarket magazine extensions. So what you would do is you just remove the bottom of this plate, and it would extend out the magazine probably about this far, and you'd get 2 extra rounds. Not too bad. So you could then take your single stack magazine and turn it into a 10, or you could take your double stack and turn it to a 14. There are options. So if that worries you about magazine capacity, you could always add an extension. Now, when hunting one of these, I highly recommend you check out the spreadsheets in the description. I always put a spreadsheet in the description with links to places you could go to purchase these, maybe some good prices. The other thing I'd recommend, check out your local gun store. You never know what treasures you might find. However, know the market the best you can. It really sucks when people go out and get ripped off, on their hard-earned money. It's kind of sad. So, take care of your hard-earned money. Do some research. Make sure you don't get taken or ripped off. And if I can help you out, feel free to email me. That's also in the description, or comment in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Mad Marine signing off. Hope you have a good one.